Alrighty, what is going on, everybody? This is Justin Martinez, aka Jay the Sports Dude, coming to you all live from my apartment. Hopefully you all are staying at your homes as well, practicing social distancing and staying safe during this pandemic, and I'm here to provide y'all with a little bit of extra entertainment. That's right, folks, it is time for New Mexico State versus South Florida. This is the latest game of our month-long journey to go back and watch every single matchup for New Mexico State last season. We've seen Western New Mexico, we've seen UTEP, we had to skip Arizona and New Mexico because just various problems with those videos, we weren't able to do them. And then last night we saw Colorado State. Now it is time for this game against the Bulls, and this is the semifinals matchup at the Cayman Islands Classic. Now you guys probably already know how this one went down, but I've had some people say they don't want spoilers, so just in case you don't remember this game, or at least the final score maybe, we're just going to go and get into it right now and watch it, guys. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Now, as you all know, once I start this live stream, I like to pull it up on my phone as well so I can just see that I'm in frame and everything right now, because as I'm looking at this laptop, I cannot see myself in like the bottom corner the way you guys see me. So I have to actually go to the channel right now and make sure that everything is looking good. So I have to actually go. Let's see, looks like I am in frame. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to update the title right now to say South Florida. Cool. Alrighty, let's see, folks. Like I said, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Ha! That's wild. So apparently when I share my screen, y'all can see everything I see. So I'm getting like text messages and stuff. That's funny. Anyways, hopefully everybody is doing well, guys. Hopefully everybody is having a great day so far. It is a Friday, although I know that we don't really have, or all these days are kind of blurred together at this point. But, you know, still, it is a Friday. So hopefully everybody has some cool weekend plans set in motion. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into this, guys. New Mexico State versus South Florida. Let's get it. Now, of course, this is muted so that you guys can hear what I am saying. Now, this was a matchup against South Florida, but Mayan Kerr did not play, which some of you guys might be wondering. The New Mexico State, one of New Mexico State's latest additions, who came from South Florida, he sat out this whole season just due to personal reasons. We never found out why. But I don't know if he's on the bench. I'd assume he traveled at least. So we might be able to see a little bit of him here. If we do, I'll pause it and try to point him out. But he's going to be somewhere in this corner here. That's the USF bench. But, yeah, I remember off rip, one of the guys that really stood out to me was, I believe his name was David Collins for South Florida. One of their guards, really good three-point shooter, one of the top scorers on the team entering this game. But I want to say New Mexico State did a good job of containing him in this one. I think so. So you got a 2-0 contest to start. Let me scoot back just a little bit so that I'm still in frame here. Appreciate everybody who's been tuning in for this. This is night number, what is it, 4 for us, I believe. We're doing this every single night at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. As we see, is that CJ with the corner pocket. Got it to fall. I've already said it before, but you know, it's so important to get those big men that really stretch the floor there. What was I saying? Yeah, this is our 4th night. However, I believe I might be taking a couple nights off next week. I actually have, my family is making the drive from San Antonio to Las Cruces to come up here and visit me. So they will be here from, I believe, Tuesday through Thursday, I think is the plan as of right now. So I won't be streaming for that because, you know, 6 p.m. is right in the middle of when we normally go out for dinners, stuff like that. So I'm just going to take that time to hang out with family. But other than that, it is going to be every single night just a little stop um, on the month-long journey during that time. But anyways, we got a 4-3 ball game to start this one. Sean Buchanan with the ball here. As you can see, it looks like the schools are starting to walk in. So I guess, yeah, they did get to attend all these games. That's pretty cool. We were talking about that the other, I think, last stream. Anyways, we got 4 on the shot clock here. Terrell's going to pull up. No good. CJ. Strong start for CJ Bobbitt. Not really somebody who excels at the three-point line or excels down low. I think he's just a really good, well-rounded player. Obviously, he provides leadership, especially once he came off the bench, one of the veterans on the second unit. And Terrell Brown draws the charge. I believe that's his second or third one this season since we started watching. Yeah. Pushed off there, extended the arm. That's Collins. That's one of the guys I was talking about. Yeah, I don't know if y'all saw the text message that was popping up on the screen there, but I was talking to somebody about how I didn't know. I've been here for like a whole year, and I didn't know that there was a place called La Llorona Park, which apparently there's this YouTube group that likes to go around the country and look at haunted places, and they came to Las Cruces. This was like a year ago, but this is the first time I found out about it. Yeah, they came to Las Cruces to go look at La Llorona Park. Which is interesting. I wouldn't imagine, as we see a three-pointer there, I wouldn't imagine that there was a park where like kids go for La Llorona, who, for those who don't know the history of La Llorona, is infamous for drowning her kids. So I thought that was a little interesting as we get a foul call there. But yeah, I was watching that video. Nothing came up. There was no haunted activity or anything. I'm personally like a really big skeptic. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. So that's just what I was talking to somebody about right before the stream started. So you see head coach Chris Jans there. Shout out to Flow Hoops for providing the live streams for this. One second, guys. I apologize. Alrighties, we got a 7-6 ball game. South Florida is on top. Little hop step, no good. Swinging it around, and that's a turnover. So I'm trying to remember who South Florida beat. Was it Old Dominion? Or Nebraska? Who did they beat in the first round? If you guys know, let me know. If you know without looking it up. Some of you guys just be looking stuff up and pretending like you knew that off rip. But yeah, let me know who South Florida beat to get here. Because I forget. I know it wasn't Washington State. Because that was like a possible championship matchup. I don't know. I'm not too sure. But yeah, like I was saying, shout out to Flow Hoops for live streaming these games because that was the only way I was able to cover this. I don't know what we would have done. I would have just had to write a story based off the box score, which I hate doing that because I can really just like the story is just a glorified box score. You know what I mean? So this was good. I think we had to pay a membership for this, although it wasn't too bad. I want to say it was like $10. As we see Johnny stepping in the draw to charge. Yeah, I need to ask, like, is that just something that Coach Jans, like, teaches his guys on how to take charges? Because I feel like everybody does it so well. So we see Sean with a nice hustle play to get that board. Johnny driving. No good. The fact that the defense, I've said it before, but the fact that the defense respects that 3-point shot of his, though, forced that guy to come up, and then he's able to drive to the basket. That one just didn't fall, though. 14-9, South Florida with 11:30 on the clock. Wow. The past, like, so already 8.5 minutes have come off the clock. That went by really fast. Did we just skip some of it? Because I think one of these Cayman Island games, it skips like a good 4 minutes of play. I don't know. We just got it. It's the best we can work with right now. Whatever videos on YouTube is whatever we're using. This one is from NM Aggie Athletics Archives. Shout out to them as usual. All the videos we've watched so far have come from them. So big shout out to them. They need a lot more than I think like the 230 or so subscribers they have. If you guys like New Mexico State content, you guys have to go subscribe to them. Show them some love. Tell them Jay the Sports Dude sent you. Yeah, because they got some football also. I don't know how much of it because I never go back and watch it because I don't cover football. But they've got some college football from last season, and I'd say they have about maybe like a little less than half of the games from 2018-2019 for New Mexico State. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. I'm seeing a couple people start to check in here. Hopefully everybody's doing well, having a good Friday, staying safe. I'm actually going to a drive-through, or not drive-through, but like drive-in movie theater right after this with one of the guys on staff. So you see Johnny with the 3-point shot, got it to go. Yeah, I was saying, I think this is around the point of the season where he really started to extend his range here at the tournament. And then at the same time, CJ wasn't really hitting his shots as much from deep. I think that's kind of what led to him losing his starting role. That's a sloppy pass. Should have been a turnover. I like these black jerseys that New Mexico State has. I don't know if they're people's favorites, because I know everybody likes the classic home white ones or the throwback ones with the little hints of like teal or whatever it is. Which, by the way, for those who don't know, New Mexico State added that. As we got an and one by Shizzy B, Sean Buchanan. New Mexico State did add that New Mexico State logo as a secondary logo, not just for basketball. It's also it's for all sports. So that's pretty cool. I think that happened a couple days ago. I put out an article about it on lcsunnews.com. So we got Tobias Rodriguez. He says the black jersey is probably my favorite. There you go. Yeah, I think it might be my favorite too, honestly. I think so. I really like the throwback one that I was talking about that they wore at home once or twice this season. So it's between those two, but yeah, I think I got to give it to this one. Honestly, all their jerseys are pretty clean though. Like I like their road jersey where it says like New Mexico State, and then I think Aggies in like a circle, and then it has a number in the middle. That one's pretty cool too. So we got Collision there. Full up three, no good by David Collins. Like I said, I think that was the top guy that I really did film on heading into this game. He was one of the guys that really stood out to me. Just really well rounded, good 3-point shooter, good finisher at the rack, a lot of strength to him. Speaking of strength, William McNair getting the bucket there. Still waiting to get a set time and date for when I'll get to talk to Will for straight shooter. I would expect Monday. Rarely players are willing to do something on the weekend, especially if they live at home, which Will's already back in Philadelphia. So I doubt I'll talk to him this weekend, but if I do find out that it's Monday, then we'll go through the normal process. I'll go ahead and I'll send out a tweet on my Twitter at JTheSportsDude, and it'll say, if you guys want to ask Will a question, comment down below for the fan segment. I usually put that out about 24 hours before I talk to the player. I'll probably pick about 3 questions. I think that's what I've normally been doing. So make sure to keep an eye out for that on my Twitter at JTheSportsDude, because I like getting you guys involved in Stray Shooter. I think that's cool. You know what I was actually thinking about doing was actually, if you guys want, instead of just sending out a tweet, you guys could actually send me a video of yourselves asking the question. I think that could be pretty cool. You could just say, like, hi, Will or Terrell, whoever it is that you're talking to. Just be like, my question is, da 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 da. You know, I think that would be pretty cool. But you know, if you don't want to do that, you could still do the. You could still tweet at me. We've had some people on YouTube leave a comment, and I pull from there. If I see a comment anywhere on socials, I'll go ahead and it counts. I'll look at it. We got Tobias saying, have you been staying cool with this heat wave that we've been having? It feels just like home again, man, because I'm from Texas. I will say this, I was feeling it when I first moved here, because I first moved here right around this time. I think I got here, as we see a 3-ball by Terrell. I think I got here, I think it was right around this time. It was late June when I moved to Las Cruces last year, and I just came from North Dakota, where it was like negative 30 degrees with the wind chill at times, snow like every day over there. And so for a little while, I was a baby when it came to the heat. I think it got up to like 80 degrees one day. As we see a dunk there, one of the first days that I got here, and I was dying, dude. I was dying. So it took a little while to get used to it again. But now I think I'm back to normal. So it has been hot, but I think I'm pretty good now. I'm pretty good. Luckily, I don't go out too often. But if I see it's like 110 degrees, like how it was yesterday, I'm good. I'm not going outside unless I absolutely have to. But yeah, it's funny because like I'm from Texas, so I should be used to that heat, but I got out of the rhythm of it when I was living in North Dakota. It was just hard adjusting to it again. South Florida with the ball here. That's a good find down low. Too easy. Yeah, South Florida has some really good height. Also, a lot of these guys have advantages here on the court. Not this particular rotation, doesn't look like, but you see a block here from Durr. Tobias asks, what were you doing in North Dakota? I still ask myself that question every day. Not to bash North Dakota. I love Minot, North Dakota for giving me the opportunity, but that was the first job I could get out of college. Was at the Minot Daily News. I was covering high school sports primarily. Did a little bit of everything though. There was like an NAHL hockey team that I covered for a bit over there. There was not a minor leagues baseball. I forget what like league it was, but there was something over there that I covered. So yeah, that was my first job out of college. It was in Minot, North Dakota. I moved 1,500 miles away from home just because literally it was the first job I could get after like 2 months of being unemployed out of college. Wasn't easy, kind of just waiting, getting all those rejection calls and emails and stuff like that. So as soon as I got a paper that was willing to take a chance on me, I was like, you know what, I'll go ahead and do it. So yeah, I lived out there for about 11 months, around there, 10 or 11 months. And I mean, other than it being freezing cold, which is not for me, I actually liked it. It was about half the population of Las Cruces, so it was a pretty small town, but they still had like all the regular food chains and all that kind of stuff. Like they had Walmarts, they had McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, all that kind of stuff. Red Lobster, I think, like steakhouses. They had everything there, so it's not like I was out in the middle of nowhere. There were some towns around Minot where I was in the middle of nowhere because I had to go and cover some of these surrounding towns too. But yeah, man, I didn't mind it. I thought it was nice. My only thing is that, for those who don't know, I drive a Camaro, which is rear wheel drive. And so in the snow, it is not meant for that. I'm talking as soon as I get like even an inch of snow on the roads, my car is just swerving, dude. It was awful. That was my only real complaint. I think if I had a truck, I would have been fine. Because like the cold, personally, I didn't mind it. Like in terms of how my body handles it, I wasn't too bad. Because you could just keep on adding layers, you know. But my car, dude, like I was scared every time I drove, and that's super annoying. It's just a lot of stress, you know. But anyways, we got a 22-20 game. Jabari Rice, no good. Derek with the board. So yeah, I've moved around a little bit already. Sean thriving. Look at that. You don't see him put the ball on the deck too much. Got some decent speed to him though. And I believe he had a really good game in this one too. He had a nice little like personal scoring stretch at some point here that I've used for like film before, but I forget when it was. I thought it was last game against Colorado State, but it definitely wasn't against George Mason, so it's got to be this one. Tobias says, I'll be right back. I'm going to let the people on AA know that you're live. I appreciate that, Tobias. I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm kind of like in between. Like, I want to let people know that I'm doing this every day, but at the same time, I don't want to hound people every day with it, you know? Like, I don't think I need to do a new post every single day saying, hey, I'm doing this live stream, because that can get annoying. I've been doing that on Twitter so far, but like Facebook, I didn't do one today. Aggie Alert, I just did one at the start to let people know. (24-20) here. New Mexico State has the lead with 4 minutes left in the first half. You see, I appreciate them for cutting out all of these stoppages. I want to say this video is only like an hour and 13 minutes. Yeah. CJ corner pocket, no good. Yeah, an hour and 13 minutes. That's beautiful. Not that I don't want to sit here and talk to you guys, but like 2 hours is just a lot just to be sitting down and talking nonstop under any circumstance. I think like an hour 15, an hour and a half is like a good middle point too. It's a good sweet spot. As we got Sean Williams at the free throw line. Misses the 1-and-1. Yeah, it's a shame that Mine Kerr wasn't playing this game. That would have been cool to get a little bit of like a direct scouting report, you know? Him playing against his future team, but like I said, he sat out all of this season due to personal reasons. We don't know what they were. He never disclosed it because personal reasons, you know. So we get Sean Buchanan forcing the jump ball. That's what you love about Sean. He's a glue guy. Doing the dirty work, the little things. That doesn't show up in a regular box score, you know. I mean, there's advanced stats for it. But yeah, just looking at the box score, you're not knowing these. He's hitting the deck. He's doing some help defense on these bigs, forcing tie-ups. Good hustle. Yeah, if you're a big man, as soon as you bring that ball down, you're just exposed. Sean took advantage there. What was I saying before that? I forget, honestly. I'm really just rambling, so like, I'm gonna forget every now and then what I'm talking about. I apologize. Sean got trapped there. Yvonne can't get it to go on the pass to Sean. Look at Johnny working down low. That's an and one. Yeah. Yeah, we talked a lot about how Jabari Rice really kind of got people's attention at the Cayman Islands Classic, but I think right around now is also when Johnny got people's attention. Not that they didn't already know he had potential and all that, because he had showed some signs of it this season prior. But this is where he really started to, I think, make his case for getting into the starting rotation over CJ. Okay. Okay, you gotta excuse me because there's I have the volume turned off. What was the call there? Bucket, no foul? Yeah. Again, I turned off the volume just because people couldn't hear me when I was talking over the commentators. I tried to find like a good balance, but it's just hard because as we get a moving screen. Aggies get the ball back. Yeah, it's just hard for you guys to be able to hear the audio because I have a camera hooked up to my laptop right now. It's not the laptop's camera I'm using, and that camera has a microphone which is right next to the laptop speaker. So even when I have it really low on volume, it's still amplified. Anyways, Tobias says, way too early, but what's your prediction for the starting five this coming year? As we see, I believe that was Sean. No, who was that? Just hit a three. Did I kick out to Johnny? I got the replay here on my phone down low. That's his second win this game. Tobias, my starting five. It definitely is early because we don't know about the incoming transfers, but just right now, from the guys that are immediately eligible or that we know are eligible right now, I would probably go Evan Gilliard just because we don't know about AJ yet. I would go Jabari Rice at the 2. Um, Clayton Henry at the 3, Johnny McCants at the 4, and William McNair at the 5. That's just including the guys we know for sure are playing this season. I would say a best case scenario, if like everything works out perfectly, guys are eligible, I would probably say AJ Harris gets put into the starting lineup, getting an extra year. Jabari Rice at the 2, Clayton Henry, Johnny McCants, and then I think I'd still go with Will, but I feel like his biggest competition at the center spot right now is probably Jacob Tryon, I think, if he's eligible. And then Evan Gilliard getting to be a sixth man and just be a bucket for the team, you know. So yeah, that's kind of how I'm rolling with it. But let me know what you're thinking about it. There's definitely, like I said, there's just a lot of moving pieces right now, a lot of question marks. And I want to put out like an article predicting like the starting 5, predicting every player's role and stuff like that. But it's just hard right now because I don't want to do that just to find out like a week later that that guy's not playing after all, or AJ is eligible now and so therefore all of the guards' minutes have to be adjusted, you know. Like I kind of got to wait, which sucks. But I mean, when you think about it, the season really just ended a couple months ago. We're still so far away from even getting to practice for the team and all that kind of stuff. So there we go. Jabari on the step back. That is a tough shot. Tough shot. Yeah, he was really feeling himself this whole tournament. He definitely got people's attention, but also just got his confidence going. You know, not that he wasn't confident before, but like you could just tell he got kicked up to a whole other level. Tobias says the point guard position is a tough one, especially if AJ comes back. We basically have 4 starting point guards. Yeah, honestly, there's like it's a good problem to have, but it definitely is unfortunate that like what I was saying. I think that probably Evan would be the guy to get pushed to the second unit, and with that being his senior year, you know, that's unfortunate. Now, with that being said, every time I've talked to him, he seems like a guy who just prioritizes winning over his personal stats. So I don't believe that he'd have a problem with it. But yeah, there's just guys there's just too many mouths to feed if everything works out perfectly. Like somebody has to come off the bench, somebody has to take on a smaller role. And it certainly wouldn't be AJ. Like if he comes in, I'm sure they're gonna call it like a position up for grabs, the starting spot. You know, they're gonna call it a competition, but I think it's pretty safe to say he would lock that up. I can't imagine he'd come off the bench. Yeah, but I would probably say that shooting guard through power forward, I think those are pretty locked up. I don't really think there's any news that could happen that would shake that up right now. I think Jabari Rice, Clayton Henry, and Johnny McCants seem to have their spots locked up. Center, I think, is going to be up for grabs. Even if it's not at the start of the season, like I expect Mine Kerr to be eligible at the start of the spring semester, so around conference play, and he could easily compete for that starting spot too with Will. We don't know how Will's going to be playing by that time, so yep. But it's a good problem to have. They've got a lot of good pieces returning, even with so many guys graduating. 32-22 here. Yeah, I want to say this one stayed double digits the rest of the way. It's not the most thrilling game. Pretty easy game to write, article-wise. Ooh, was that a little no-look pass there by Sean? Can we see that one more time? Just for the people in the back. No, I didn't mean to do that! Oh my gosh. Please tell me it's right here. Oh, how skillful am I, guys? Did y'all just see that right now? Just one press, and I found exactly where we were at. But anyways, look at Sean Buchanan here. Just a little no-look handoff, something light. Jabari's got to finish that the first time, though, so it counts as an assist. That's funny. 34-22 here in favor of the Aggies as Jabari Rice almost gets the steal. Wow, that was a nice save. I showed a play similar to that, except where he actually did get a steal. During the straight shooter interview where I broke down some film with him. Just a really good defender. Has a good sense of where the ball's going when he's on defense. His timing is really good. Obviously, he's got the speed. I forget which game it was. I want to say it was a UMKC game, but I might be wrong. Yeah, it was a UMKC game where he was kind of caught in a position where he had to guard a guy down low and a guy on the wing three, and he just waits until the perfect time to just explode and get the steal, and it leads to a bucket on the other end. It's a good pass there to Yvonne. Tobias, I noticed Sean is still in town. Is he going to be on Jans' staff? Jans definitely did talk about, in one of the post-game interviews or one of the press conferences, I don't remember which one, he did talk about the possibility of Sean being on the Aggie staff, although he said he wasn't sure if that would be immediately or not. But I wouldn't put too much weight into the fact that he's in town, just because a lot of players are in town simply because they don't want to get on planes right now. And Sean would have to get on a plane to get back to Mississippi. So I wouldn't put too much weight into that, but I definitely would say it's a possibility that he could join the staff at some point, whether it's right away or not. But yeah, there's a good amount of people still in town. I think everybody I've talked to for stray shooter so far has been in town. Terrell was, Evan was, Bryson, Tennessee, obviously, since they're from here. And I think, yeah, Clayton was too. So we see CJ with the nice corner shot. Yeah, that's definitely his spot when he does extend his ranges in the corners. I mean, it's the easiest shot to hit from distance, because it's the shortest. So yeah, you got to give him credit for that. He's not the best shooter when it comes to his range, but he knows his spots and he can get to them real easily. And that's a great find from Yvonne too. I talked about it earlier, but I think Yvonne's passing is really underrated as a big man. We'll see it some more later in the season, and I'll point it out, but there's moments where he gets double teamed once he's backing someone down, and he does a really good job of finding his guys because they already know to cut to the basket once he starts to back someone down, because they know he's drawing double coverage most times. Or a double team, I mean, it's not football, not double coverage. 38-22 here, deep three ball. Air ball. Yeah, Aggies were in control of this one here. I really don't know who the top scorer for this game was. I have the box score pulled up. I don't want to look it up right now until maybe later in the game, but yeah. And I did find my preview article of this, so I'll be able to see what I predicted for the score. I think I called it a much closer game than it was, because I think the Aggies won by around like 20 for this one. And I want to say I had it at maybe like 7, something like that. I don't know. Unless they're facing a really, like an NAIA squad or a D2 squad or something like that. I don't really like to predict double-digit wins. But especially like in the WAC, where usually teams will play them close. So like 7 is actually a pretty good margin, but yeah, they won this one pretty convincingly. So feeding Devon down low, finds CJ up top, putting the ball on the deck. Gets a rip, but he'll keep the ball there. Let's see, how much battery is my laptop at right now? Oh, it's at 100%. Let me unplug this. Plug in my phone instead, because this is starting to die on me. Trev with the bucket. One of his few buckets in this game. I think this was a pretty quiet game for him. But obviously, he's someone that even if he's having a quiet game, needs to be the focus defensively. As we got a 3-person collision there. What are they calling? On the floor. Is that with Jabari? Yeah, they're calling that on Jabari. Stephen M, appreciate you for tuning. I like how you at least preface it with I have to ask. Stephen M says, I have to ask, any news on Jaquan Scott? There's no news, unfortunately, man. No news. The news is that he is deciding and the world is waiting. Pretty much. I know you gotta ask though. It's a big decision, So I don't mind getting it. And you're not the only person who asked me. My emails, my voicemails, my DMs on Twitter. It's pretty constant. I don't mind it. I mean, I get it. Like I said, he would make a big difference, especially because he could slide into that power forward spot. And they don't have a whole lot of power forward depth at the moment right now. So it's not a make or break decision. I really like the roster the Aggies have put together either way, but definitely he really would push the needle for them. Because I've been doing research on him. Normally I don't do research on somebody until they've already committed. But with him having cut it down to Kansas and New Mexico State, I think like a month ago now, I had already started just in case we would have found out like in the next coming days, because I want to say that post that he put also said like decision coming soon, he said. So I'd already started to do some research. I've been looking at him and yeah, I mean, just you talk about freak athleticism, which is something that a lot of the incoming transfers have. Jabari was talking about that in the Straight Shooter interview. I think Clayton was talking about that too, which is interesting because we had just asked. They were both during the fan questions. And I think it was different people each time, but I think one of them was you, Steven, who asked that question. You were like, who's going to be the most impactful incoming guy or something like that. And I think the next week somebody asked that also to Jabari. And yeah, both of them said athleticism. Marcus Watson obviously has plenty of athleticism. Mayan Kerr definitely has it in spades. Kalen Williams and CJ Roberts both have a lot of bounce to them at the guard spot, and I think Jaquan is no different. So we got a 40-25 ball game here. Oh, you had Sean Williams cut into the corner wide open. Yeah, you see Jabari's there pointing. He's like, dude, he had it right there. Sean's telling him too. He's like, hey man, you got to get that to me. I don't know if y'all noticed that there. Sean full court pressing. Just a little bit, just some light. Just letting this guy know he's there. That's so weird that y'all can actually see like if I get a text and stuff showing up on the laptop. I mean, I don't mind, but that's funny. I didn't know it actually showed up on stream too. I'm talking with my photographer right now. Not my photographer, because the photographer that I work with for sports at the Sun News. So I'm gonna get a couple texts from him. Who is also the guy who does the voice of the bartender for Straight Shooter. For those who follow the podcast I was doing last season, every time I'm like, bartender, what do we have on tap for today? Or on tap for today. And yeah, he would be the voice of that. So shout out to him for doing all the voiceovers. Stephen M. OK State is on probation. Marcus Watson must be happy now. I saw that. Yeah, no postseason play for this upcoming season. Marcus must be happy, and Cade Cunningham must not be happy. For those who don't know, he's considered by a lot of people to be the best guy coming out of this most recent high school class. So you see a nice move there by Yvonne. Yeah, and he committed to Oklahoma State. And now the Cowboys are ineligible from postseason play this upcoming season. Yeah, I like to still keep tabs on Big 12 news just because I am a UT Austin alum, so followed it very closely in college, obviously, and I still follow it now. I saw Texas Tech got Mac McClung. What just happened there? That was a part of the video. I don't know what that was. Did we skip ahead just right now? Huh. I don't know what that was. But I saw the Texas Tech just got Mac McClung, the transfer from Georgetown. That was a big YouTube sensation for his high school mixtapes. For being a shorter guard. They can get up there, do some pretty crazy dunks. See, Vaughn misses a free throw there. "13-point game, so not completely out of reach here for South Florida, but they're really playing not just one step behind. I think they were playing a couple steps behind this whole game. It was double digits for a while, most of the way. As we see, Vaughn missed both free throws. That's what I was talking about. Really early on in the season, his free throw numbers were horrendous. I'm talking, it was like 50% in that range. Which is weird because he got into the 70s last season, the season prior. So I don't know what happened. He did pick it up a decent amount later on this year here. But early on, yeah, he had his struggles. And he's somebody who gets to the line a lot. I want to say he had the most free throw attempts this past season by far on the team. Tobias asks, would it be tough for you to watch if we played UT? Yeah, it would be. It would be tough. I mean, I really don't. I think I've done a good job of remaining pretty impartial towards UT in general, because when I was at college, I wrote for the student paper, so I couldn't cheer for the teams when I was covering them, whether it be, basketball, volleyball, tennis. I did like all sorts of sports. And then even with football, I was a part of the Longhorns film crew. So I was out there at their practices. I was out there at I traveled out of state for all of their games. So even then, we can't really celebrate while we're on the job because we're filming. So if somebody gets a touchdown, I can't go crazy or anything. So I've kind of gotten used to separating my UT bias just from my, the professional aspect of things. But I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. If they play UT, prefer to see UT win. I think that's pretty fair coming from an alum. But honestly, if they played, I wouldn't be surprised if New Mexico State won. Just like being the Longhorns fan that I am, you just know, like, even though they're the Power 5 school, they have a tendency to sort of play down to their competition, which isn't an insult to New Mexico State. I'm talking purely in terms of a Power 5 playing a mid-major. Yeah, they have a tendency to not show up at those sorts of games. So I wouldn't be surprised, honestly, if New Mexico State beat them. Yeah, and even when New Mexico State plays like UTRGB, I have a lot of friends who graduated from UTRGB because I am from Edinburgh, Texas. So I have a lot of friends who graduated. I have a lot of friends who are still going to school there and are actually attending that New Mexico State UTRGB game. You know, like when New Mexico State played UTRGB this past season down in Edinburgh, like I had family actually at that game, rooting for the Vaqueros and everything. So, in that sense, I wasn't really rooting for UTRGB because I didn't go to school there. It's just my hometown school. But even then, like I do have some connections for teams that New Mexico State plays. Cameron Montano, appreciate you for tuning in, man. He says, I do not have a Twitter account, but can you ask Willie McNair for Straight Shooter, what is he going to work on this summer to get better? For sure. Let me take a screenshot of this real quick so I don't forget it. Yeah, I'll make sure to include that, man. Yes, sir, yes, sir. And like I said, guys, if you don't have Twitter, don't worry about it. That's not the only place you can ask me questions for Straight Shooter. You guys can ask me on here on YouTube. You can ask me. I think what I might do is as we see Sean catching fire. I think what I might also do is post something on Aggie Alert the day before also. So you guys can comment there because I know for sure a lot of people would ask questions there. I need to start doing it on Facebook too because I haven't been doing that. But yeah, if you don't have Twitter, it's no big deal. You guys can definitely, you know where to reach me. You can find me doing a live stream pretty much every single night. So that's something I really put an emphasis on is if you guys want to reach me, I like to think that I'm pretty readily available. But yeah, since you commented one first, I'll make sure to do that. But what I'll probably do is I'll pull like one from YouTube, one from Twitter, one from Aggie Alert. So you'll have the one YouTube comment for this upcoming episode. Stephen M says the Daily Texan. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Was a part of the staff for 3 years there. Because my first year of college, I went to school at UTSA in San Antonio, where I was living at the time, as a part of something called the CAP program, where pretty much you go to one of the UT-based schools, whether it be like UTRGV, or my sister actually did the CAP program there, and now she's at UT Austin. You can go UTRGV, UTSA, UT Arlington, stuff like that. You go a year there, you get a 3.2 GPA, and then you go to UT Austin. So that's what I did. So yeah, I was at UT Austin for 3 years, and I was the Daily Texan the whole time. Cash Money. Yes, sir. That's one of the highlights that I showed him as well. When I talked to Sean. But yeah, pretty much if you work for the Daily Texan, it's like I'm still in touch with a lot of guys, and we've got a lot of guys go on to do some really cool things. I actually had a pretty cool thing. I really wanted to go out to the game against Mississippi State because my buddy who used to work at the Daily Texan with me, Tyler Horka, now covers Mississippi State athletics for the Clarion Ledger, which is also part of USA Today. So that was pretty cool. We were texting each other during that whole Mississippi State game, wondering which of our teams that we covered was going to win. So shout out to New Mexico State for winning that one. Give me a little bragging rights over Tyler. But we got a couple other guys. Michael Shapiro is covering the Houston Rockets for Sports Illustrated. We have a guy who was our editor, Akshay, who is now, I believe he was with Sports Illustrated. But I forget where he's at now. I think he might still be with them, but he's out in New York. Yeah, we've had a lot of guys doing really great things. Drew King is now covering Texas State for the San Marcos Record. Yeah, cool stuff, man. Stephen M., how old were you when you knew you wanted to be a professional journalist? Pretty young. Yeah, pretty young. I've always wanted to work around sports one way or another. Obviously, I started off like everybody else, wanting to be a basketball player, but quickly realized that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, my mom is an English teacher, or she was at least for about like 2 decades. So like writing in general has always been something that's been around my family. I've got 3 other aunts who are also or have at one point been English teachers. So I'm talking like if you're talking around them, they're correcting you on your grammar, stuff like that. So that's just been around my family for a long time. And then also with me loving sports and loving writing, journalism was kind of just the obvious choice for me. So I'd say I really started taking it seriously in high school. I moved to San Antonio my sophomore year. I might have said it on one of the live streams before, but pretty much in high school and in Edinburgh, I was the center for my basketball team at like 5'8", which I'm not 5'8" anymore. I'm 6 foot now, but I was 5'8" at the time. And then I moved to San Antonio and quickly realized that was not going to fly. So I played basketball for a very short time there before eventually making the move to the journalism class, the newspaper class. And once I got there, I think I really started to take it seriously. Started going out of state. We competed in Boston for a writing competition, like nationally, and I actually got second place nationally for that. Yeah, and I really started taking it seriously there. In college, I started off as a biology major. I just had like a little like freak out period where, I was worried about like the financial stability or lack thereof for journalism, which is just something you got to deal with when you're a part of the profession. You know it going into it. But I had like a brief moment where I was like, you know what, maybe it's not for me. And then I took about 1 semester of biology and failed all of my tests and was like, you know what, I'm going back to journalism. And I think after then, like I really just started to work as hard as I could in terms of writing. And now I'm here. So, yeah. I know it's a long-winded answer, but yeah, I guess short story, journalism has kind of been an option for me for a long time. You see Jabari with the 3-pointer there. Shaking his head as he's walking back. You could just see the confidence from him in this tournament. Which, like I said, not that he didn't have it prior to this, but I think this is right around where I think everybody knew, like, okay, this guy's going to not only be a good guy for the future because he's just a redshirt sophomore year, but can make an immediate impact. Tobias says, LOL, glad biology didn't work out. Journalism is your calling. Appreciate that. Yeah, I was going to go into, I was going to try to be a dentist because I actually, right around the time that I got into UT, I had an older cousin of mine who had just gotten into dental school, and she was telling me all sorts of stuff about how awesome it is, which it is. Like, it's a really great profession. Pays, obviously, much better than the average journalist. And so that kind of convinced me to try it out for a semester, and then I quickly realized that was not for me, man. I took like a couple of those biology weed out classes, and it weeded me right out. I don't even want to say what my grades were, but they were not good. And that's not from lack of trying. Like, I was studying my ass off, dude, so hard, and it's not for me. I'm just not very good at science, which, come to think of it, I've never been good at science, so I don't know why I thought biology would work out. Um, like, even chemistry classes I took, like, I had to work nonstop just to get, like, a B. If that, I'd be happy with the B. Sean with the three, no good. Stephen M. Well, you made the right career choice, and we are lucky you are covering NMSU. Dr. Martinez. Dentistry. Appreciate that, Stephen. Yeah. Yeah, I think it was the right choice. And honestly, I've still had, like, thoughts every now and then because, like I said, like, I'm not going to lie to y'all. As you all know, it's no secret the money is not good with journalism. There's a lot of layoffs. We've had people getting furloughed and laid off. It's not easy. It's not easy. And then obviously there's a lot of animosity towards the media. I think you can try to be as impartial as you want, as fair as you want, as respectful as you want towards people. But there's some who just have sort of a set opinion on the media, think they're just out to get them, think they're just out to make people look bad. So you have to deal with that a lot. I've had times where I've considered, maybe going to law school or something like that. But at the end of the day, man, like, that's not gonna make me happy. Like, covering sports and getting paid to do that is honestly like a dream come true for me. So yeah, man, I'm happy with where I'm at. I'm just counting my blessings. I just turned 24 recently, last week. For those who don't know, and that kind of made me realize, like, shoot, man, I'm not in college anymore. I'm out of here. Like, I'm making a career. I'm just really appreciative right now for everything that I have. So we got a 22-point game here. Tobias asks, what's your ultimate dream job in journalism? To cover an NBA team as a beat writer. I'm not really picky towards a team or a publication, whether it be like ESPN, The Athletic, Sports Illustrated. I'm not picky. I just want to get into the league, cover NBA players, stuff like that. Be able to do my podcast, my web series on a big scale with like actual real production. Get a couple thousand views per video, stuff like that. Have like a real big community around me. Again, not that the New Mexico State community isn't great, because it is. Obviously, it's a much smaller number than the amount of fans for like, the Boston Celtics or the Los Angeles Lakers and stuff. But the Aggies community is great. But at some point, I definitely want to be able to just have a much larger platform when it comes to what I'm covering. So yeah, covering the NBA is the goal eventually for me. You see Sean with the easy layup. He had a police escort to the rim, and he looks like he's hobbling a little bit there. I don't remember him missing any time for games. So we get a foul on the floor here. 60-36. This one really turned into a runaway game here. And meanwhile, I think George Mason was beating Loyola, I believe, right, in order to get to the championship. I think they played after this game, I want to say. Yeah, they played after this game. New Mexico State was first. Then George Mason beat Loyola. And that'll be the game we watch tomorrow, is New Mexico State versus George Mason, which is one that might be a little painful to go back and watch for Aggie fans, but ultimately it was a good game. So I think it'll still be fun to watch it. Check it out. Tobias says, I wish you all the luck in that, and I know you will get there. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, Aggie Nation in general, I haven't had a single person, or I've had a couple. I'm not gonna lie. I've still had a couple like hate emails and stuff like that, but for the most part, it's been like overwhelming support from y'all, so that means a lot. Really, the only time I've ever upset some fans is if like prior to the season, I said they would split games with UTEP. I had some people clown me for that, Just stuff like that. But like I get it, it's a rivalry thing. But other than that, like everybody's been super supportive, which is great to see. I have some people stop me every now and then in town whenever I'm going out to like groceries or something like that, and they're like, "Oh hey, Jay the Sports Dude," stuff like that. Which, by the way, going to really quickly about the Jay the Sports Dude thing. Honestly, I made that as like a joke of a Twitter handle. I think like my sophomore year. So pretty much, no, my junior year of college. I was a co-host for a radio show at one of our our student radio station at Texas called KVRX. As we see a three there by Trev. Um, and it was pretty much like a first take type of format where it was me and Drew King, who I was talking about, who now covers Texas State athletics over at the San Marcos record. Um, and it was kind of like Jay the Sports. It was kind of just like my on-air persona, so I changed my Twitter handle to it. And originally, that was even one of the first choices. I think I wanted to do like Jay the Sports Guy. I think was the first one, but that was already taken. So like, yeah, I'll just pick Jay the Sports Dude. And it like, it became like a really big thing on campus because we would put up posters for our radio show and everything around campus, and it got pretty popular. Like it got pretty popular, and so people started actually calling me that. And then when I graduated, I just kept it, and now like I use that as my intro and everything. I'm like, hey guys, Justin Martinez, aka Jay the Sports Dude. I use that for everything, and now it's just kind of just become a thing that I wasn't expecting it to, and I don't know if I want it to be a thing when I'm in my 30s. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if I want to be this 40-year-old guy still being called Jay the Sports Dude. You know what I mean? It's cool now because I'm 24. Uh, but yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do about that later down the line, but for right now, I'm kind of just rolling with it. And yeah, there's people who call me that in person nowadays, which is always weird to hear. But that's just a little rant there about that. Tobias says, how much hate mail have you gotten from the UNM fans? Oh, from UNM fans, it's a lot. From UNM fans, it's a lot for sure. I don't know if you saw it, Tobias, because I know you follow me on Twitter. But I posted one on Twitter from a guy whose name I won't disclose, but his first name was Paul, and he just went off on me. So I don't know how he found out that I was doing these nightly live streams. But apparently he saw that I was doing that and just thought it was like this hilarious thing. He was like, "Oh, are you enjoying going back and watching them play Chicago State and play, NAIA squads, whatever? Like, maybe one day you'll be able to cover UNM or real school. Dream big, Justin," and stuff like that. And I was just like, I'm literally just saying I'm going to do a live stream, and that's like reason to get attacked. So I get stuff like that all the time from UNM fans. But I mean, for that, I know it's part of a rivalry, so I really don't care. Jay the Sports Dude, good icebreaker with the ladies, says Stephen A. I don't know about that. I don't refer to myself as Jay the Sports Dude around the ladies. Norma Grijalva, appreciate you for tuning in. She says, love your stray shooter. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for following that. I've honestly had a blast doing this web series, a lot more than Straight Shooter, the podcast that I do during the season, just because I really like the video based format, getting to break down plays with people, and I think I really embraced kind of not taking it too seriously, because at the end of the day, it is an off season thing. There's not a whole lot to really cover during the off season. So I've really enjoyed doing like the hometown heat, where you find restaurants. For those who watched the interview last week, this past Wednesday with Jabari, he found celebrity lookalikes for his teammates. We saw a comparison of Evan Gilliard to LL Cool J, and then a comparison of Bryce Rewalt to Macaulay Culkin, which is just hilarious stuff. Like, it was funny seeing Jabari's reaction. So yeah, I really love putting together this web series, and the plan is to talk to everybody this off season. Guys that graduated, incoming transfers, returning guys, maybe even later down the line some coaching staff too. Yeah, so I've really enjoyed it, and I'm glad that it looks like it's really gotten a some good traction, good views, stuff like that. So it's been great. Stephen M says Norma and her sister are the best Aggies fans ever. I was gonna say Sylvia, right? I think her name is Sylvia Grijalva, because I want to see I used one of her fan questions for. I'm blanking on which Straight Shooter episode it was. But I remember that last name for sure. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Apologies if I'm not. But then Norma says it is awesome. You get the sense of player personalities. Yeah, definitely. And I think that's really an important thing is that I know personally that like how great all of these guys are because, you know, I get to talk to them whenever I go check out a practice or after a press conference. But the fans really don't get to see a lot of that, you know what I mean? And so I think that these both Stray Shooter and Straight Shooter, I think do a really good job of kind of showing that, which is cool. And even like when I got to talk to Slab Jones during the season, you know, he's known as a really nice guy, but definitely somebody who is very serious on the court, stuff like that. So it's really cool to get to see like sort of the lighter side from him as well. Yeah, I think that's really important to show a different side of athletes because that way you can really separate their game from just how good of people these guys are. Steven says Norma defense, Aggies defense. Norma says LOL. As we are here in the final seconds of this one, 65-43. I want to say this one ended up being a 20-point game, so I think it's just these free throws and we're out of here. Tobias says, have you met and talked with Lou Henson? I have not. I have not met and talked with them, actually. Really would love to. I would have loved to. I'm not going to say would have because I'm not ruling it out. I'm not going to lie. He's somebody that I really want to get on the Straight Shooter podcast, which is now going to be a web series or whatever. During the season, I really want to get him on the show as well. So no promises because, you know, with his health and everything like that, he's not readily available. But yeah, that would be great to get to talk to him. And like, if you guys have Aggie greats that you want me to try to reach out to, like, I would love to have some of them on the show as well because obviously there's some overlap. I got to interview a couple guys twice sometimes last season just because I ran out of players to talk to. So anytime I can talk to like an Aggie great or somebody else, I'll definitely try to make that happen. Stephen M says Randy Brown. I've gotten a couple of those. Yeah, I've gotten a couple of recommendations for Randy. Yeah, Slab was one of the big ones. And, you know, it just happened to work out really perfectly where they were in town. Where the whole team was in town. We see the end of this ball game here. Let's go ahead and take a look at the final box score. And then we'll take a look at the quotes from this game. Steve Coulter. I'll take a screenshot of all of these so that way I can remember and add them to my list. Tobias says William Benjamin and Justin Hawkins are loyal. Okay. Yeah, I'll add all these to the list because I definitely am going to run out of people to talk to since it's one every week for. Jeez, how long is the season? The season's like. I think we ended up with like 20 episodes, something like that. So, and obviously there's not 20 players on the roster, so. Yeah, let's take a look at these stats, and then we'll get out of here. And then tomorrow will be the game against George Mason. Actually, here, let's listen to Jans real quick right now since he's talking. Let's go ahead and do that.
Second half, what do you have to say about the bench talent and what you were able to get out of them today? Well, our bench is a little thin for people that follow our program closely. We've got, 3 guys out. 2 will be back in January. But it's the first time all year long where I felt like we had some solid depth. And this is our best basketball of the year. We kept it together. We had some stretches of good basketball yesterday, but we haven't played a full, 35, 40 minutes of decent basketball, and I thought we did that today.
It seemed like really from the get-go your guys were ready to play. Now you're going to have a chance to play for a title come tomorrow. How fun is it knowing that you're the first team locked into a championship bout?
Yeah, it feels good. Since we've arrived, we've talked about winning championships. When they're giving out a trophy, our goal is to bring home the hardware. And we struggled early this season, so our mantra was more, let's win the first game. Let's not talk about a championship. Let's win the first game and then get into this position where we can put ourselves in position to win a championship. And that's what we've done. And obviously it's a quick turnaround situation. We got some guys banged up, but hopefully we'll get some rest here and be ready to go tomorrow.
The victorious Chris Jans. Coach, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Back to you, Scott.
Alrighty, so that was Chris Jans. Now, I do have a couple of quotes also from him after this game that we got. I believe I didn't talk to Jans after this game. I think usually if it's a road game, Charlie Hurley, the SID for New Mexico State, will just interview Chris and then put it on like his phone and then just send me the video and I can pull quotes from there. So that's how we got these. So here's Jans on the team's effort. He said we had a little more nerve, a little more intensity, a little more want to. Hopefully this is a game that gives them some confidence on how we need to play to be successful. And then we got to talk to, or we heard from Johnny McCants afterwards, and this is him talking about his performance. He said, I got to give the credit to the guards and everybody else. They know how to get by their defenders, get into the lane and kick it out. They trust me so much, and I haven't been shooting as many threes as I used to in high school and stuff, but this year I'm trying to get it up more. Which, yeah, that's exactly what we were talking about, is how it's not that he just added this to his game. He was a shooter in high school, and I think it was just confidence, just making sure that he made it a point of emphasis to bring that back into his game. And, yeah, this Cayman Islands Classic was really big for him in terms of making that happen. Quick look at the stats. It was Sean Williams leading the team in points, 13 points, 3 for 6 shooting from deep. Johnny McCants, 10 points and 7 boards. And the other double-digit scorer was Trevelyan Queen with 10 points and 1 board. Yeah, there we go. And then LaQuincy Ridow, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, for South Florida was the only double-digit scorer, 11 points and 3 rebounds. Guys, that is going to do it for this one. Shout out to everybody who's been tuning in. Norma says, I'm looking forward to Johnny's interview. I've had a lot of people say they really want to see Johnny. Just the way I've been doing it, I think the players have really enjoyed being able to nominate their teammates. So I think I'm going to stick with that. But definitely we'll get to Johnny for sure. But we're going to get to everybody, so it's going to be great. But Johnny's fun every time that I talk to him. Super respectful, as everybody on the team is. And obviously he's going to have a really big role on the team this upcoming season. So definitely have to get to Johnny. But yeah, this upcoming Wednesday should be William McNair. I'm saying should be just because I don't have a time and date just yet. Once I do, I'll send out a tweet the day before. And I'll say, hey guys, I'm going to talk to William McNair tomorrow. Comment below if you have a question you want to ask him. That's on my Twitter, @JTheSportsDude. But until then, you can feel free to leave some comments or leave some questions for Will here on our YouTube channel. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to post something on Aggie Alert the day before I talk to Will, also saying, hey, if you guys want to ask him some questions. I think I'll do it on Facebook too. Yeah, you guys know how to get in touch with me. You can find me here every single night. So if you guys want to ask anything or even just ask me anything, I am readily available. Steven says Norma is the fan club president for Johnny McCants' fan club. He definitely has a lot of supporters, as he should, here in his hometown. The Cruces Crusader. But yeah, like I said, tomorrow night, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, will be the game against George Mason. And I am going to miss sometime on this live stream. I have family making a drive from San Antonio to Las Cruces. I think right now it's set for, they're going to get here on Tuesday. through, I think, Thursday is when they're going to be here. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be streaming that night just because I haven't seen family in a while. So I might be taking those 3 nights off. But either way, that should be one of the only times that we don't stream. For the most part, this is a month-long nightly journey of going back to watching all of New Mexico State's games. And I've been having a blast. I appreciate everybody for tuning in live. If you can please like the video, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you get notified every time that we go live here or post anything. And shout out to those who also are going back to watch this. Even if it's not live, I appreciate it, guys. But I think that is going to do it. Norma says, thanks for your work. I really appreciate it. I appreciate you. I'm always happy to provide you all with coverage. But that is going to do it for me tonight. This has been Justin Martinez, a.k.a. Jay the Sports Dude. Hope everybody's staying safe out there. And I'm out.